yet. We ain't started yet. Now clap it up.
Most High in Christ. Right, Most High in Christ. Shalom Israel right now. Today is the I.S.U.P.K.
Everybody take the seat.
Today is the 14th day of the month Adar. Right. This is why we are gathered here to observe the Feast of Purim. The Feast of Purim is not a high holy day. Shut up. Put your phone aside. It is not a high holy day, but it is our tradition to observe this day, right? Because as a people, we were supposed to be annihilated. However, through the power of the Most High, we are still here and we're still going to be here. All right, so we are going to go in the history of Purim to see how it started. As we were in captivity under the empire, the Persian Empire. All right, so we're gonna start with Esther, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Esther 1:1. Now it came to pass in the year of I.S.U.P.K. This is I.S.U.P.K, which reigned from India even to Ethiopia, over 120 provinces.
All right, so this man was very mighty and powerful. All right, this is during the Persian Empire.
Right.
And he ruled over 127 provinces. All right, so we're gonna find out exactly how did one of our sisters, how did a princess of Zion end up being this man's wife? Because it is against our law for our sisters to be with a heathen. So we're gonna find out how Esther, which was really instrumental in this feast that we are observing today. Right? Keep going.
That in those days, when the king I.S.U.P.K sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace. 3. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants.
All right, just like right now we are having a feast. Well, this man, right, in the 3rd year of his reign, he decided to make a feast. And what was the purpose of that feast? Keep going.
And the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. 4. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days.
All right, so he wanted to stunt, to show all his power. He had a lot of power. So now let's see what his wife was doing during that time. Let's jump to verse 9.
9. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women.
All right, so at that time, he was married to Vashti. Vashti was the queen. All right, she was the queen of that empire, as Ahasuerus was the king ruling. Keep going.
In the royal house, which belonged to King I.S.U.P.K.
All right, so she made a feast as well. Keep going.
10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bigtha, Harbonah, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zatar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of I.S.U.P.K, the king.
All right, and he did that to basically give the queen an order. And what was that order? Keep going.
To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the royal crown, to show the people and the princess her beauty.
And this is all the king wanted to do. He wanted to show, right, the people his beautiful wife. And he's about to find out that his wife was not beautiful at all. His wife was not beautiful. And we're going to find out why. Keep going.
For she was fair to look on.
All right, she was fair to look on. That means she was beautiful. She was beautiful to look on. Keep going.
But the queen Vashti refused to come.
She refused. She showed how she was not beautiful. You cannot stumble on a woman's beauty. All right? Because it takes more than you being fair to look upon to be beautiful. Keep going.
Therefore, Slakia, to come at the king's commandment, by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
All right, imagine you trying to show the people that you are ruling over your wife, and then your wife is like, "Nah, I'm not listening to you. I'm not coming. Go tell the king I say I'm not coming." All right, Officer Abaji, if you want to chime in, you can chime in anytime. All right, but
Yeah,
keep going.
13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the time, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. 14. And the next under him was Karshanash, Shatar, Admatha, Tarshish.
Okay, you can stop right here. So if you know how an empire is ruled, a king doesn't make all the decisions. The king has councilmen. He has people that counsel him and tell him, look, this is what I believe you can do. This is what I think you should do. This is what province I think we should attack next, right? So after this thing happened where his wife refused to obey him, he brought all his councilmen to figure out, okay, how am I supposed to handle this situation? How am I supposed to handle a wife that is disobedient to my order? Keep going.
Khan, you want me to read all these names?
You don't know.
I can skip down like 16.
Skip
right
down
there.
to 16.
Yeah, Khan. And at Memu.
So basically, we just skipping over the names, all right?
Right.
You could read that on your own time.
Right. 16. Memucan answered before the king and the princes. Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
All right. So this councilman told him, look, you looking at it like she done something to you. It's not only to you, because this is going to spread like a virus.
Right.
It's going to spread. And the scripture tells you that.
Right.
Right? A woman will ruin the nation. All right? I'm paraphrasing, of course. But the councilman told him, look, she's done this to all of us, to all the men. Keep going.
John. 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
And that's what I just said. This is going to spread like a virus.
Right.
The next thing that's going to happen, all the women is going to hear how the queen disobeyed her head. She disobeyed the king. And they're going to look at their husband like, why the hell should your wife listen to you, Officer Ibaja?
Right.
Why the hell should she listen to you?
Right.
You just a servant.
Right.
And the queen's wife is not listening to the king.
Right.
Who's ruling over 127 provinces. So
right.
Why in the hell is the wife is supposed to go just listen to a servant? So this is what the councilman is basically saying. Like she's going to spread that spirit all across the provinces that you're ruling. Keep going.
And now, if I may, sir.
Come on, get down.
Like, here's the thing you gotta understand about it. You're thinking of it we could take it from the love and hip hop perspective. That's a lie. But here's the truth. You're about to find out. Vashti finds out what happens when you do that. Like, at the end of the day, there's a saying in the world, they say, men control access to marriage. Vashti's about to find that out.
Right.
And a lot of sisters that follow after Vashti end up finding that out themselves.
Right. You heard what happened to Ciara, right? Recently, I heard what happened with Ciara.
Right.
Everybody?
No,
Ciara.
No, what happened?
Ciara, she came out with a song, right? And basically, she's promoting independent women.
Right.
And you know, all social media got them.
Right.
Like, you are married with children promoting this BS to us.
Right.
We don't want to hear it.
Right.
All right. We don't want to hear it. And this is what this is proof that this society is dying.
If I may.
This world is dying. This world is old. Go ahead, Observator.
Right. It's also that this world is waking up. Like, you know what it is? After Lemonade, everybody woke up. It was all irreplaceable single ladies. And then, wait, this man cheated on you and you still stayed.
Right.
Oh, you've been bamboozling us.
Right.
I've been ran through listening to Beyonce, leaving every man because he had another woman. and now I'm useless to men. All men think I'm disgusting because of my body count.
God.
And you stayed with this man while he cheated on you.
God. And most importantly, Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh for the I.S.U.P.K, who've been waking up our people, man.
Right.
You know, because this is what you are seeing right now with this society losing its power. Right? America is losing its grip. It is losing its power, and it is prophesied in the Bible, you know, because the times are waxed old. This society is dying.
Right.
And the priests and prophets in the I.S.U.P.K, we have been prophesying, we have been consuming the lies of this kingdom.
Right.
Right? And this is exactly what's happening. Keep going, bro.
Come. When it shall be reported, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
Right.
When it shall be reported, the king I.S.U.P.K commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
And she came not. Read to verse 19.
Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
And this is exactly what the woman will do. The minute the woman sees that the queen can get away with disobeying the king, so they're just gonna do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing, and then what happens? What happens is a destruction of an empire. Now, this is a heathen empire that we do not care about.
Right.
Right? We do not care about this heathen empire. We don't care about King Ahasuerus at all.
You know,
but we're using that scripture because you could get it in a minute. We're using these scriptures because the scripture is clear as far as what a woman's position is.
Right.
Even though this is a heathen woman that we do not care about, but our sisters have to learn from these mistakes. All right, we have to learn that you do not behave yourself in the manner of this heathen woman right here.
Right.
Because that would be a mistake to try to not obey your head. Right, go ahead, Elijah.
And the biggest mistake is the name Queen Vashti. Okay, a woman is not a queen. You gave that woman a big head in the first place. Like, she needs to understand at all times she is a princess. She's lucky to be here. What's the first thing the angel said to Mary? Blessed is thee. Why? Because she's gotten with David. He's of the royal bloodline. You're lucky to be with that man. And our sisters don't realize that because we're pushed that in the society that somehow you're supposed to praise a woman. Right?
Right. And right, it's crucial what Osai Badger just said because our sisters are not queen.
Right.
Queen is not an Israelite custom. Why? Because a man can't have multiple women. So who's gonna be the queen? Nobody is the queen. You are the wife of a king.
Right.
That's what you are. You're not a queen.
Right.
You're the wife of the king. All right? Keep going.
19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus.
All right, and they say, you know what? You need to make a decree, man. This woman needs to go.
Right.
Vashti has to go. All right, this is the decision that needs to be made. Keep going.
And let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
You know what? We're gonna find a better woman than her because she's not obedient. She's not obedient. That title got to her head. She thinks she's the queen and she don't need to listen to her man. No problem. Strip her from that position. Let's replace her with a better woman.
Right.
Let's replace her with a better woman. Jump to chapter 2, verse 1. You wanted to say something?
And another thing that a lot of men are getting hip to, and understanding the way that's all applied by our oppressor, but a lot of men are checking out of marriage. You know why? You can't do what Ahasuerus did because she's going to take half your money. She's going to take the kids.
Right.
You don't get to take back everything you've given this woman through your hard work. For those that don't know, this is Xerxes from 300. That's a fictional story, but it's based off historical events. Xerxes was the king that this is talking about, right? All that war, all that battle that he did, he became great and mighty, and the leaders of Persia before him. He was allowed to say, you're being unsubstantial as a wife, I get to take that back. The American government says, no, you have to give her alimony, pay for half, and give her child support. And now they're realizing men are checking out of marriage.
Good.
And that's the problem.
Matter of fact, give me 26 and 14 in Ecclesiastes.
John.
Right? And the reason men are checking out of marriage is because they're not finding this right here that we are about to
You said 26 and 15, right?
14.
14. Sorry.
Read that.
26 and 14.
What book?
This is Ecclesiastes 26 and 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord.
You need to be a silent and loving woman if you want men to marry you, because ain't no man gonna stay with you, and this is what's happening. This is why you have weak men. Weak men are going overseas. What they call them? I'm sorry about you.
Passport bros.
Those men are weak.
Right.
They are weak. And because you are out of order, these men say, you know what, I'm giving up on our women.
Right.
We don't give up on you. We're going to stay with you. We're going to get you in order in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
We're going to teach you how to be a silent woman. We're going to take that spirit of Vashti that you have in you. We're not weak men in here. We're not going to be passport bros and travel and give up on our sisters.
Right. And I'm going to just say one thing on that. Like, that is a prophecy. What does the scripture say? I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Right?
All right, read that scripture again. And this.
Verse 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
Right, so you have to be a woman with a mind well instructed and be obedient and silent to your Lord, to your man. All right, let's jump back to Esther chapter 2. And this is why.
So in verse 4, you said, right?
To Khan. 2 and 1.
2 and 1. Verse Esther 2 and 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her.
All right, so now he's remembering his wife. All right, keep going.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
That's them basically saying, man, you don't have to worry about that, bro. You know how many women we have? You ruling over 127 provinces, king. You're gonna bring
Ethiopia.
Right from India to Ethiopia. That's the Persian and Medes Empire. You're ruling over 127 provinces. Don't worry about that woman. All right.
For those
you're gonna
that,
bring good.
John, for those that don't know, that's basically the subcontinent of India, stretching into basically Arabia, stretching into what we know as our promised land, stretching into Egypt, which stretches into Ethiopia, which is ancient Nubia. That's a lot of women.
There's a lot of women. There's a whole lot of women. Keep going.
Come. 2. Then said the king's servants, that meant 3, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young women.
All right.
So young virgins,
God, read to 4.
unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. 4. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti.
Right, so basically, we're gonna bring you a whole lot of women. How we say in the script, a gang of women?
Right.
We're gonna bring you a gang of women, and you're going to choose the one that pleases you. She's just gonna replace Vashti. Don't worry about Vashti.
If I may, they gotta already have a keeper of women, so more than likely, he's replacing his main.
Right.
He has side chicks. He has a man in charge of a side chick.
Right.
But what they call in the world side chick. But he wants a new queen.
Right.
This woman was foolish and didn't realize women are the replaceable ones. I'm sorry, Beyonce lots. Which one is there more of?
Right. And that is also because remember, we're talking about heathen, all right? You can't have side women in
Right.
Israel, right? The women that you have, she's not a side woman, she's your wife.
Right.
Right, so we gotta recognize the heathen's custom. It's not our custom to have a main woman.
Right.
Right, like outside Bible said, to have a main woman. That's my queen, and then they just my side ones.
Right.
Our custom.
If I may, sir, going back to what you said, how you going? We have multiple wives, so who's the queen?
Right.
Then
Exactly.
only one gets to be the queen.
Right. Right.
God.
Now keep going. So now we're gonna find out in chapter 2 how Esther, right, became a queen, because a princess of Zion cannot be a queen, and she only became a queen because she was a queen in a heathen society.
Right.
Because her husband was a king and made her a queen. If her husband was Israelite, she would just be Israelites king's wife.
Right.
Right. So this is how we're about to learn how our sister became the queen. She became known as Queen Esther. Keep going. Read 5 to 8.
5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Right? This was Officer High Zahab right there. Right out of what?
No,
A Benjamite. All right. I'm not. Hey. YouTube. I'm not saying this was Officer Hazahab in the flesh. This is not what I'm saying. I'm about to say I.S.U.P.K say Hazahab is Mordecai. That's not what we're saying. All right. This is not what we're saying. What we're saying is that as far as being a Benjamite, okay, because Officer Hazahab is a Benjamite and Mordecai was a Jew. He was a Benjamite. All right.
Right.
Keep going. Keep going.
God. 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
All right, so remember, we are under captivity here. All right, the same way we are in captivity today. And guess what? Persia is no longer an empire. That empire is destroyed. In the same way, this extension of the Roman Empire today, which is Babylon, which is the daughter of Babylon, is going to be destroyed. All right? And America is going to be destroyed. And what we are doing here right now today is the proof of that. Because we are a people that was supposed to be destroyed. We are a people that was not supposed to know that we are Jews. I was not supposed to know that I'm from the tribe of Levi. Right? Officer Shalaya Allah was not supposed to know he's from the tribe of Judah. We were supposed to think that we are African American, that we are Haitians and Jamaicans and Dominicans. But now we know our true identity. Right? Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh for our elders, man, who give us this truth. Right? Give it up to the man in the house. You know? Keep going.
God. 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther.
Okay, that is Esther's name in the Hebrew, Hadassah. All right, keep going.
God. Hadassah, Salakia. Hadassah translates to, they don't have a translation. Okay, God.
Keep going.
That is Esther, his uncle's daughter. For she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful.
So that's what I always forget.
God.
That was his uncle's. That was the cousin.
Right.
So Esther was his cousin, but he raised them as a daughter, basically. Right. You know, and this happens in Haiti, and I'm sure you are familiar with situations like that. You have a cousin of yours. She's young. She lost her parents. That happened in 2010. So many brothers and sisters, man, they lost their parents in Haiti during the earthquake. We have over 200,000 people lost their lives during that earthquake. It was terrible. And you have a lot of children that grew up without their father and their mother. And you know who raised them? Some cousin, some uncle, or sometimes a friend of the family raised you. So this was the situation. This was the relationship between Esther and Mordecai. Right? They were cousins, but he raised her as his daughter.
Right. It's basically a myrtle tree. Hadassah is a myrtle tree. You can look it up. It's a nice, pretty tree. Okay? Khan. Whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Right, so he took her for his own daughter, even though that was his cousin. She was young, and the parents died, so he raised her.
Right.
Keep going.
So it came to pass.
What verse you want?
8.
Come.
So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together under Shushan.
All right, so now remember, right? The king sent his men out to gather all these women. So he chose the best of all. He didn't take every single woman. All right? He went and chose based on what he think the king would like. And when he gathered all the fine women that he was able to, right? Now read on.
Right. Were gathered together under Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house.
All right, so Esther, Mordecai's cousin that he raised as a daughter, she was one of these women that the king's what was his title?
The king's chamberlain.
Chamberlain, all right. He was among the women that he chose.
Right.
Now keep going.
God. To the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. 9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him.
All right, so she pleased him. He find her very attractive. So that's how she made it. Now jump to verse 17.
17. And the king loved Esther above all the women.
So above all the women that the chamberlain brought to the king, he loved Esther. He loved our sister. All right, keep going.
And she obtained favor and grace.
Read on. Read
God. In his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
Man, the king, he saw our sister and he said, man, this is the next queen.
Right.
Here she is right here. This is my next queen. This is what the king Ahasuerus said. Keep going.
John 18. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
So he basically threw a party. He got him a new wife, and he's like, you know what? We're going to throw a party. We're going to enjoy this day. Keep going. This day is going down memory lane.
19. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people.
Keep going.
For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
All right, so now she's about to basically transgress a law. All right, basically transgress a law in our nation. You cannot be with a heathen. And this is what happened to us as a people. And this is why in the I.S.U.P.K, we take this job serious, man. Because the scripture tells us in 2nd Ezra, man, our daughters are defiled, right? Young men, our daughters are ravished. And we have to recognize when we are being oppressed. Because there's no reason why our sisters should be with a heathen. All right? No reason why. Keep going.
God, at 20, 21, in those days while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were robbed and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus.
All right, so now listen to this carefully, because this later on is going to be instrumental. All right?
Right.
It's going to be instrumental in why we had the capacity to defend ourselves, all right, against a man who wanted us annihilated. All right, this is going to be very instrumental later on. Read that part again and you're going. You wanted to say something?
I'm going, what's called, there's a reason, a very underlying reason. And we're going to get that later too. Okay, Khan. At 22, and the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen.
All right, so basically these men, they wanted to put their hands on Mordecai. All right, they wanted to kill him. Unalive, you gotta say. Right?
Well, yeah, God.
Unalive him. All right, they wanted to slay him. The same way, y'all know about the president of Haiti, right? Last year? Right. The president of Haiti lost his life in his house. Similar situation. All right, similar situation. Because the only way this can happen is if your security, your shamar inside your place is compromised, and the security shamar was compromised. These two men, they wanted to do him like they did the president of Haiti last year, who lost his life on July 7th. All right, may he rise again. Keep going.
Okay. And Salakia, and the thing was known to Mordecai.
And Mordecai find out about it. He find out the plot that they had to unalive this president or this king.
Right.
He find out about the plot.
Who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
All right. So now the king Shamar find out about it, and they're going to investigate. All right, in Mordecai's name, because he was the one that laid the message. Keep going. You could time it at any time, all right?
Yeah, come. 23, and when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree.
All right, so they find out. It was confirmed. These men were really trying to do King Mordecai like they did the president of Haiti. I'm using that so y'all could get the understanding exactly. Right? I'm using a practical example of what happened to one of our actual brothers, right? Because that heathen, he is not our brother.
Right. And if I may, kings dealt with this a lot. You might watch old movies of old kings. A cupbearer is not just a cat who holds the king's cup.
Right.
You took a sip to make sure nobody poisoned him right before he took his sip.
Right.
That was a very dangerous job back in the day. Have somebody to touch the food too.
Okay. Jump to 3 and 1. Unless you see anything we gotta read.
Salakia, just make sure y'all remember this wasn't forgot. They made a log about this.
Right.
About Mordecai saving him.
There was a record of it.
Right.
It's gonna be instrumental.
Right. 3 and 1. After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. You want me to break this down now about who this cat is, or
you can go on. Did we? What you about to do? Was that confirmed?
Yeah, come.
Go on, though.
Come. For what okay, Salakia. So those that don't know, this is Agag. The king, he's an Agagite, meaning his father is King Agag, the king of the Amalekites. These are the cats that attacked us leaving Egypt. Long of the story short, King Saul was a Benjaminite, was ordered to kill every last one of them.
Right.
Man, woman, and child. He left the king alive in the king's personal cattle, so that the people, rather than his soldiers, could eat. Samuel and the Most High had a problem with this. You know why? His descendant went on to try to exterminate our entire race.
Which we're about to read right now.
What's the lesson of the story? Follow orders.
Right. Follow orders. Instrumental. All right. Very important. Keep going. So I get sir.
You might want to check on the Igor guy.
General Q brought this out years ago.
It said Samuel killed him childless.
Salakia?
It said Samuel killed him childless. So just check on it.
Count. Keep going.
Keep going.
Verse 3. After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him, and all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him.
So this man is going to basically become second in command. And this is the man that's going to have the power to decide the fate of Israel. And this is a terrible position as a people for us to be in. For one man who just don't like us, decide, you know what? I'm gonna put crack cocaine in this neighborhood and destroy this neighborhood. This is a terrible position for us to be in as a people. And this is why it's important for us to consider our condition, like it says in the book of Haggai. We got to consider our condition, man, because the position that we are in society is not the position that we should be in. We should not depend on a heathen whether we're going to leave or not. Because this man is going to have a power, as we are about to read, to decide our fate. All right? And we are a much stronger people than this, man, to let a heathen decide what we're going to be as a people.
Right. John 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Right, so Mordecai, you just read that? When Mordecai refused to bow to him?
Salakia. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Right. So Mordecai didn't bow to this man, this one man, like he's something. The same way in the I.S.U.P.K, we don't care who you are. We ain't bowing down to you. What do we say? The Father we fear.
Right.
This is who we fear. We follow Commanding General Yohanan. Right. And the man above us. Anybody outside of this gate, you are nothing. And we ain't bowing down to you.
Right.
And Mordecai, as a Benjamite, as a Jew that he is, he ain't about to bow down to these heathen. Wow, you second in command to the king now? I'm supposed to bow down to you? What, you Donald Trump, I'm supposed to bow down to you? You Joe Biden, I'm supposed to bow down? And the hell with that. Right. And that's the spirit we have in the I.S.U.P.K. We fear the Most High. We don't fear no heathen. We don't fear nobody. All right, keep going.
Then the king's servants, which were verse 3.
Go.
Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Are you serious? You ain't about to bow down to me? That's an order from the king. The king said you need to bow down to me. Donald Trump said you need to bow down to me. You ain't gonna follow the king's order? Keep going.
John 4. Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand.
And this is what they do every day. You know, it's like they do to our brothers in Hollywood, man. It's a shame what they do to our brothers in Hollywood. You know, Dave Chappelle brought that years ago, over a decade ago. How they was trying to get him to bow down as far as putting on a dress.
Right.
You know, they're gonna come. You know, the first time they tried, all right, he ain't bow down. You know what? Let's try it next week. You know, let's try to get him to put on a dress next week.
Right.
You know what? Let's put this in a skit.
Right.
Right. They want us to be submissive.
Right.
We are not submissive men. We don't submit to no heathen. We don't put on dresses and we don't bow down to heathen.
Right.
And if I may, sir, something that got brought up with the whole Tyree Nichols thing that I think General Muhammad brought out. Like, we as outsiders, when it comes to things like sororities and fraternities, we see that as weird. But General Muhammad broke it down and explained, when you do these things like Dave Chappelle and wearing the dress and all these other celebrities, what you're saying is, I'm a team player.
I don't think Dave Chappelle put that dress on.
He didn't. To my knowledge, he never put a dress on. Kevin Hart said he would never, then he did.
Right.
For Saturday Night Live. Right? But what you're saying is, when you'll do whatever homosexual thing they do in these fraternities, and it's always something homosexual. Just interestingly enough. What's it called? Is what you're really saying to your employee, I let someone do something homosexual to me, so now that shows you I'm a team player. Whatever you need me to, if you need me to lie, cheat, and steal to make this banking firm go right, I will do it. He's saying to Haman, nah, I'm not doing that. I am a man of decency and order and righteousness.
Keep going.
For he had told them that he was a Jew.
Right. I'm a Jew.
We don't do that.
I don't bow down to you. I'm a Benjamite. I don't bow down to you. Who you? Keep going.
5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
So now these heathen, you gotta put this in your head. You ever see how the cops, how they act with a brother when a brother, like, they want you to just recognize them as your God. This is what they want.
Right.
And the minute that they see that you are not about, it's like a problem to them. They are full of wrath. They are angry. Why? Because they cannot break you. You know? Never allow another man to break you. You follow orders in the I.S.U.P.K. All right?
Okay? For they had showed him the people of Mordecai, Salakia. And he, verse 6, and he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
He wanted to kill Mordecai. He wanted to put his hands on Mordecai. Like, who the hell is this Negro right here?
Right.
Everybody's bowing down to me. Everybody's doing it. And this Negro right here, he's not bowing down to me?
Right.
Who the hell is he? Who the hell he think he is? And that's what they say to us in the I.S.U.P.K. Who the hell we think we are?
Right.
Because we got, Becky kissing our boots.
Right.
Oh, they hate that. They hate that. The fact that we're not bowing down, but they are bowing down to us.
Right.
Keep going.
For they had showed him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews.
So they told him, this is these people right here. These Jews, these Negroes. That's his people.
Translation. We found the cat that won't bow down to you. Why? Because his whole race won't bow down to you.
Right. Right. He's a Jew. He is a Jew. This is how they live.
Right.
All right. Important scripture to read is Judith, the 5th chapter. All right. Judith, the 5th chapter breaks down what every heathen empire knows about us. Right? What they know about us and how they know to keep us in captivity. All right. But you go ahead and keep going.
John. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Purim, that is the lot, before Haman, from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
So a whole year, they about to plot on how they're going to kill the Israelites. How are they going to kill the Jamaicans, the Haitians, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans? How are we going to kill these 12 tribes? How are we going to kill these people? Because we got to kill them. We have to kill these Jews. We must kill them. All right? And we're going to come up with a plan, and we're going to have a set date where we're going to unalive them. I got to make sure I was still alive. Unalive them at a set date. Keep going.
Right. John. 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Right, so these people, they are scattered in all the 127 provinces that we are ruling over. Keep going.
John. And their laws are diverse from all people.
They are different. They're not like us. They're not like the rest of the people that we are ruling over.
If I may.
They come.
The laws are diverse.
Right.
Meaning, we've never heard of a people that we kill you if you choose to love who you want to love. What?
Right.
You can't love whoever you want to love inside our law system. Yeah, that doesn't work.
Right.
You will be killed for things like that are strange to heathens.
Right.
Their laws are diverse.
That's how you know we are special people. Not like everybody else. Not like everybody else. And we have to recognize that as a people, because sometimes, we don't understand the responsibility that it is to be an Israelite. The scripture said, what advantage has the Jew? in everything. You know, because the law, statutes, and commandments was given unto us. These laws, the heathens don't know them. They don't understand them.
Right.
Heathens, they're gonna take a Bible and wrap it on their head. They don't understand these laws. They don't understand this wisdom that we have to live by these laws, statutes, and commandments. They just wrap it in their head and they following God's laws.
Right.
Keep going.
Khan. Salakia. Neither keep they the king's laws. Right? And I'm going to just so we understand that, I don't murder because Joe Biden didn't tell me that. I murder because the Most High said that. That's right. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
All right, what verse you in?
Verse 8. 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
All right, that wasn't the king's decision. That was what's his name? Amon's decision.
Right.
He wanted to destroy Mordecai and all his people. Why? Because Mordecai will not bow down to him. And because of that, he's like, you know what? We need to destroy. We need to get rid of all of them. Let's just kill all. Let's just unalive all of them. Keep going.
And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasure.
And how you think he's going to be able to pay that? Because when you unalive all these Israelites, what's going to happen? You take money to water. You take all their, you're gonna take all their addictive chaos chains. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. You're gonna take all their jewelry. You take all their gold and silver because you unalive them. Go ahead.
There's another story that puts me into a story that happened to us recently within the last 30 years.
Quickly.
A brother by the name of Joseph Biden, a senator, went to the current king, a man by the name of Bill Clinton, and said, we need to create a bill to put more cops on the street. That's about all them talents, 25,000 talents. And then what did you get? 3 strikes law. 3 strikes law is the same as what he's doing. It's exterminating.
Right.
Come.
Right. And now you're gonna work for Apple for 5 cents a day.
Huh.
And I'm not exaggerating.
Huh.
For a quarter a day, you're gonna work for Apple and privatize prisons.
10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And if I must say, they're on the same vein. Remember, before something comes into law, Bill Clinton has to sign it as the president.
Right. That's power. Now you got the king's signature.
Right.
Now you can make a decree to exterminate us with this ring. Keep going.
11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given unto thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
Do as you please. What you see fit, just do it. Think it's necessary? You're gonna bring 10,000. How much you say you're gonna bring? 10,000?
Right.
You say 10,000?
I will pay 10,000 talents of silver.
Right. All right. Do what you see needs to be done. Take care. Right. You got my signature. You got my approval. Keep going.
12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded under the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus.
Oh, they got us. All right, keep going. I don't know what you just said. They got us.
Was it written and sealed with the king's ring?
You got to be extremely careful now with your language. It's ridiculous. All right. We want to stay. Keep going.
So, right, mate. Keep reading.
You want to break that down?
Yeah, come. Basically, he went to, okay, as I explained earlier, this is after Babylon. Those that didn't get caught up by Nebuchadnezzar scattered. And as we just said, this is stretching from India all the way to Ethiopia. It's basically the known world. Right?
Salakia, keep it down, all right? Keep it down. We're picking up all the noise in the background. Salakia, I don't want them.
John. So Basically, anywhere you'll find our people from India all the way to Ethiopia, we're getting exterminated. Like you read in Jeremiah, a few of our people were stupid and didn't listen to Jeremiah and ran to Egypt. They would have a problem because Xerxes or Ahasuerus runs Egypt at this time. He runs Nubia, or what today we know as Ethiopia. So any place our people are on the known world that this man controls, we are getting exterminated by his order. Like today, if that happened, if you lived in Puerto Rico, if you lived in Guam, Guam is getting this. They're technically not states, but they're U.S. territories. The U.S. Virgin Islands, same thing. Okay, I'll keep reading. 13, and the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish.
I think that's what you said. TikTok got us. So now,
yeah.
and you know what this does now? Like now, you can't even read the Bible.
Right.
You can't even stay in front of a social media platform and read the Bible. Because you're gonna get canceled for reading the Bible. And we are simply, Upside Badger is simply reading a verse in the Bible. And TikTok say, you know what? I got to go. This is where we at right now.
Right.
All right. And this tells you, man, this is our power.
Right.
This is our power. Where we at? 13?
13.
We done with it?
And to cause to perish all Jews.
And to cause to perish all Jews. This was the plan. You know, we're going to come up with a set date. This man will not bow down to me. So because of that, we're just going to, commit genocide on them. We're going to make sure all the Jews, all the Benjamites, all the Levites, all the Judites, we're going to make sure they are all perish. Jump to chapter 4.
You don't want to.
That's it on 13? Keep going.
Both young and old, little children and women.
And this is a curse.
Right.
We read that in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Right? A bedrock scripture that all Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians should read. All right. We have people right now, man. It's a battle that's telling you that the white man wrote the Bible. This is the battle that we are going through right now with I.S.U.P.K, Haiti, and all the schools.
Right.
They want to teach us we Egyptians.
Right.
Right? And these prophecies are written in the Bible, man. They don't care if you're an old man or if you're a 13-year-old boy playing at the park. Right? It's a curse.
Right.
Keep going.
Even upon the 13th day of the 12th, Salakia, in one day. Meaning
one day.
God,
yeah, break it down.
He wants to have this race exterminated in a day.
An appointed day.
Right.
It's the month of Adar, right? It's the first month. You know what? Let's get ourselves together. We're going to make this decree, right? Spread it throughout all the 127 provinces. How many languages? We got 50 language. Make sure it's translated in all 50 languages. Make sure everybody understand what the assignment is. On this specific day, we're going to take care of all of these people right here. All these Jews, we're going to take care of them, and on that specific day. That's the decree. That's the order. Keep going.
God, which is Salakia, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. And if I may, sir, I just want to bring this out. Like I talk about this almost every year. Black Wall Street. I got a book in the back. Like they were so jealous. Them devils were so jealous during Black Wall Street. They was going in the houses after killing like old couples, right? And being jealous while we have
to say
unalive, right? Unaliving old couples in their homes, sometimes while they were praying, right? And just stealing their stuff and saying, why do niggas have such nice things? This is our enemies, and this is how they have always treated us throughout history.
Right.
Same with Seneca Village. John, verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. You want me to skip to where, sir?
You could skip to chapter 4.
4 and 1? 4 and 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a bitter cry.
And this will happen to you when you find out that your family is about to be annihilated. Because this is what Mordecai just experienced. He just found out that there is a plot to unalive all his family. There is a plot to destroy us as a nation. And this is why the men in the I.S.U.P.K, man, we are so instrumental because we understand this. We understand that there is a plot to destroy us as a people. And this is why we sacrifice our lives, man. We sacrifice our lives so that this do not happen. We understand that there's something that we must do. We must change our lives because we cannot remain in this position forever.
Right.
We cannot remain in a position where we depend on a heathen. Do you see the people who's claiming to be us right now? Like you can just look at these people and know God will not. There's no way, right? There is no way that God chose these people to be His special people. Right. It cannot happen. There's no way. When God is going to choose these people, this is the people right now that is claiming our identity. And now you can't say nothing against them because they are claiming to be us. And the scripture says a dog shall not bark. This is our position. A dog shall not bark at Israelites. Right? I'm paraphrasing. You know? But this is our position that they are claiming to be in. And we can't remain in that position forever. We must recognize who we are. We must recognize the responsibility that it comes to be an Israelites, right? Because we are the people that are supposed to be ruling this planet Earth. Right. The position that we are in today, it's a shame. All right, keep going.
Verse 2, and came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. For those that don't know, that's just denim. Sackcloth is like denim.
Right. It's an Israelite custom, like when you are basically in time of distress, turmoil, distress, that you put on sackcloth.
If I may, just a shameless plug, my brother of Zahazahab, this is how we normally dress. We dress like what type of fabric? Like we dress in nice wool. We dress in silks. We dress as royalty. Sackcloth is like, it's literally a sack. That's cloth for a sack. That's not something that a king on the earth wears. John 3, and in every province whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. Like you said, that's our custom.
Right. Because now the people find out that this is what's about to happen to us. We got about 10 months. 10 months, they're about to come up against us. You gotta just be careful with your word. You don't know what to say. I need Officer Shagapani here to make sure he check my vocabulary.
Right.
With this YouTube and internet. Keep going.
4. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen.
Say that part again.
So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her.
Right. Keep going.
Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he received it not.
All right. Now, this is something that, as a people, we must understand, because a lot of time, especially living in America, man, you may not experience what our brothers and sisters are experiencing at the borders in Mexico. You may not experience what our brothers is experiencing in Haiti. You may be at a position in society where you can eat every day, you can pay your bill, right? And you're not experiencing the hell that your people is experiencing every day. But what we gotta understand is that we are not individuals, right? We're not individuals, and our sister is about to learn a crucial lesson. We're not individuals. We are a nation. Yeah, it's true. Myself and Officer Abajo, we can eat every day. But what about our brothers in Haiti who can't eat? We got 4 or 5 million Haitians right now. When they wake up in the morning, they do not know what they're going to eat. And I'm not exaggerating. We got our brothers in Mexico right now. We got their children being taken away from them, getting raped. We got our people trying to leave Dominican Republic, Haiti, going to Panama, trying to get to Mexico to come over here to America because they are running from the hell that our oppressors create in their country. Whether it's in Venezuela, in Nicaragua, in Haiti, they are trying to escape. And we cannot separate ourselves from the pain of our people to just say, you know what, we're in America, we can go to the nightclub, we can eat every day, and now you're not an Israelite no more. Now you're in America. We can't separate ourselves from the pain of our people. And this is why the I.S.U.P.K is teaching to our brothers and sisters in the world, because we are like that. This is why Commanding General Yohana, appoint us to send food to Haiti, send clothes to Haiti, go help our people. And as we are doing it, we are waking our people up, pass on literatures to them to let them know that Jesus was a black man. You know what I'm saying? To let them know that, you're not Haitian, you're from the tribe of Levi. You're not Jamaicans, you're from the tribe of Benjamin. You are Mordecai family. Right? We are Jesus family. Because it's important for us to know that we are not individuals in Israel. We are a nation of people. Keep going.
John 5. Then called Esther for Hatak, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. 6. So Hatak went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them, if I may. I'm going to just say, you got this brother living on the streets outside the king's gate. And why that's so imperative is to understand, for those that don't know, around the corner from the White House is the homeless hangout. That's not a joke. I've asked many people from the D.C. area this. Michael, aren't you also around D.C.? Right, you from North Carolina. What's it called? Around the corner from the White House, you have a lot of homeless people. What's it called? You got this brother standing around, and that's how a lot of these kingdoms are.
I mean, we in headquarters in Harlem.
Oh, forget about it.
125th.
Forget about it.
It's all across this nation. In Vegas, you go to Vegas, you see all the millions of dollars, and then there's over 30,000 people living in tunnels. Literally. Not exaggerating.
The mole people here in New York?
The mole people. That's what they call it.
That's
how you know the wrong people is ruling the planet.
Right.
Wrong people is ruling. All right. Keep going.
And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him. And of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. 8. Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people.
All right, so basically, when Queen Esther tried to send Mordecai a band-aid, right, to put on his distress, he refused it, and he sent a copy of the decree so she could know this is what we are up against as a people, not as individuals, but as a people. All right, keep going.
And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. 10. Again, Esther spake unto Hatak and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
All right, so basically, she's thinking about her life.
Right.
She's like, man, I understand. I hear you. The people, we're about to be annihilated, but guess what? I am not going to talk to the king.
Right.
Because I might lose my life if
Right.
I go to the king. Right? Because that
So basically, if anyone was even to even question the decree, they would be killed.
Immediately.
They wouldn't even ask about it or anything.
Immediately.
you can't go to the king unless the king calls for you.
Right.
If I may.
Yeah.
Like this, that concept is strange to us because for the last 200 years, or rather last 2,000 years, because of a group of devils, we've all had the idea that everybody's opinion not no. For the majority of human history, one man's opinion mattered in an entire region. In this instance, from India to Ethiopia. Whatever that one man said is what everyone did. We killing the Jews. That's what's happening.
Right. You're putting crack cocaine in your neighborhood. Putting abortion clinics in your neighborhood. Guess what? Ain't nothing you're going to do about it. Matter of fact, you know what? How many businesses are in Harlem? 150. You know what? There's going to be 4 businesses, black businesses in Harlem. Everything else is going to be Arab, Chinese, and white. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. It's happening right now.
Right.
It's happening right now. The only thing that's different is technology.
Right.
All right. Back then, they ride on horses. Right now, we ride on what?
Right.
On cars.
And
we got Wi-Fi and TikTok.
Right.
That's it. It's the same thing that's happening.
Yeah. I just gonna say that maybe back then I ended off here. Like that's what got us messed up with the Romans. We've Judas Maccabeus fell in love seeing the senators and the Senate of Rome and thought we could advance by that. And guess what? The Romans came in 100 years later. You see this and you see this in the contract, that means we now control Judea. We cannot be Democrats or Republicans. Democracy does not work for us. We have one king. His name is Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
Right. That's right.
We are a monarchy.
Right.
Keep going.
Come. 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt
Keep going.
that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
All right, listen to this carefully, right? Remember, I was saying earlier, we are not individuals.
Right.
Right? Because at this time, Esther is thinking about herself. Right? And she was thought better. This man raised her. And he's not about to beg her. We do not beg in the U.P.K. He is not about to beg that woman because now she has a title. She is the queen. Now, you still that daughter that I raised. I raised you up and I taught you better. And don't think you are an individual. Just because you are the so-called queen,
Right.
that this decree that this heathen made to destroy us as a people, that you're not going to fall under it.
Right.
All right?
And if I
Yeah.
and another thing, this is like sisters that think that whole breadwinner mentality. Like, understand, and this is why women get it mixed up. Men are the ones who will really sit out there, get into a problem, and say, we'll find our own way. Whatever obstacle comes across us, we got it. Okay, my cousin is that I raised is a queen. Oh, she's acting different. No sweat. Just understand, our redemption and our deliverance is gonna come in somewhere. We gonna eat in this house somewhere. You can leave, do whatever you want. You're the breadwinner. You can get it how you want to. Our redemption just gonna come another way. Right? Verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and their deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
All right. If you think you're not going to hell and we're going to be destroyed, well, guess what? We're going to be delivered, like Osai just said, somehow, some way. It's going to happen. All right. It's going to happen. But don't think that you're going to be saved. All right. Keep going.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
All right. Not only don't think you're going to be saved, you're going to be destroyed. These were another gospel. Oh, you think that you are protected? You think you're protected. And this is what happened to a lot of our people. We think we are protected. Like right now, we are living in crucial time, man. And it is a beautiful thing to us in the I.S.U.P.K. When we hear about Russia and Ukraine and America and China right now, who's supposed to be sending Russia weapon and artillery, this is a beautiful thing, you know, because we pray for these days, you know.
Right.
But it's a dark day. When things explode, it's going to be like the scripture says, man, the day of the Lord is darkness.
Right.
And what happened to a lot of our people, man, because our people are asleep, we don't think what's happening in Ukraine right now is going to touch us.
Right.
Somehow we think that this country of Azerbaijan is just going to last forever. You know, we're gonna have little boys that grows up, and when they reach 10 years old, they're not boys anymore, they girls.
Right.
We're gonna have little girls that grows up. By the time they 6 years old, you know what? They boys. We think this is gonna go on forever, right? We think we just gonna, you know, America is just gonna exist forever. Not so.
Right.
Not so. All right. Don't think that you are safe. You're not safe. All right. This country will not protect you. America will not protect you. The U.S. Army will not protect you. Our only protection is in the Most High, man. Is in His laws, statutes, and commandments. Is in us rebuilding our nation. That's our protection. Like the scripture says, gather together, nation not desired. We are not desired as a nation, not as individuals, as a nation. And this is what Esther is going to learn. And she's about to learn that lesson very clear. Because all that fear that she had, you know what? I got to worry about my life. All that's going to go out the window. Because Mordecai said, all right, no sweat. You're going to be destroyed. Right. You think you're going to be safe? You're going to be destroyed. And we're going to be saved somehow, some way. Keep going.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
What verse is that?
14. And who knoweth?
That's 4 and 14.
Count it. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Right, exactly. So basically, you ain't even know that the reason that you were in this position was for you to do something about what's about to happen to your people.
Right.
Who knows? Because you ain't supposed to be here in the first place.
Right.
You're not supposed to be sleeping with a heathen.
Right.
Who knows? That's not why you're in this position. Right?
15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. 16. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me.
Oh, she learned. You know, she got cut. She got cut right away. She's like, you know what? Pray for me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Go fast for me. I am going to risk my life for my people. She got cut. Because Mordecai cut her to piss. Like, you think you're going to be saved? No sweat. You're going to be destroyed. And somehow, some way, the Jews are going to be saved. But you over here worried about your life, your house is going to be destroyed. All right, so she learned immediately. Keep going.
5. Now it came, and fast for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, nights or day.
And real quick, right? And there's certain and that was a demon, right? That was a demon, because a spirit that is telling you to worry about yourself, that is a demon. And the scripture tells you there's some spirit, right? There's some spirit you can cast them out by baptism, by being taught, basically. Right? There's some spirit, like, you know, you could just learn, like, you're not supposed to smoke weed, right? You learn that, you learn the scripture, you learn the breakdown, and you stop it. But there's certain demons that you have, right? You have to fast, right? You have to fast, you have to pray to cast this demon out. So she wanted prayers, right? She wanted fasting because she needed to cast that demon out that told her, worry about yourself. All right, so she learned that. All right, keep going.
John. I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
She's like, I'm going to fast too. I'm going to fast too because I need the strength to go and face death. Sometimes you have to face death. We do it every day in the I.S.U.P.K. We face death. What we are saying, we are on the FBI list of Shabbat.
Right.
We are terrorists in the I.S.U.P.K. That's what they call us of Shabbat.
Right.
Of Shabbat. They call us terrorists.
If I may.
The I.S.U.P.K. We never hung nobody.
Right.
We never put crack cocaine in nobody's neighborhood.
Right.
We never put abortion clinics in nobody's neighborhood, but we are terrorists.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna break that down in a minute too.
Because of what? Because of our laws, statutes, and commandments, and because of who we are as a people.
Right.
Because what we are is what's going to bring us to the power that no heathen want to see us in. Don't think there's a Chinese man that want to see us in power. There's an Arab that want to see us in power. There's a Caucasian man that want to see us in power. Nobody want to be ruled by the Negroes. Therefore, whatever you're doing that could bring you to power, you know what? You're a terrorist for it.
Right.
You're a terrorist. I know you don't kill nobody. I know you don't smoke weed. You don't do drugs. You don't kidnap nobody. You don't kill nobody. But you're a terrorist. Keep going.
John. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
She said, if I die, I die. Sometimes you gotta face death. All right? And this is our life in the I.S.U.P.K. We face death every single day of our life.
Right.
This is not an easy job. Right? To prophesy against the kingdom that's ruling over you, it's not an easy job. Right? We mean business in the I.S.U.P.K. We understand. If we die, we die. We're gonna die for our people, though. We're gonna die for our people. We're not gonna die gang banging. Nah, we're not going out like that. We are not going out. We're not going down overdosing on Percocet or Coke. Nah, we're going down. If you're gonna go down, we're gonna go down for our people. And this is what Esther understood. Esther said, you know what? If I die, I die. Keep going.
John 17. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
Keep going.
5 and 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house.
And this is the power, man. You know, a woman, you have a power that's like no other, and it is in your femininity, man. Don't listen to this world that's trying to tell you to be masculine. Don't listen to no man. You ain't getting nothing like this. You're not. You know, we can tell you in the U.P.K. You know, when our red was something, they come. It's like, and you could tell too. You're like, look at her. You know what I'm saying? With all that femininity, she's trying to get over on me. You know what? Go ahead. You got your way. There's a power in your femininity, and Esther is about to use the power that Queen Vashti didn't know about. Queen Vashti didn't know about that because she wanted to disobey her man.
Right.
And Esther is about to use her femininity, right, for her people, and she is about to risk her life because what she's about to do, she could die for it. That's why she said, "If I perish, I perish." Keep going.
And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the royal gate, over against the gate of the house. Verse 2. And it was so when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand.
So when the king saw his wife, what you think? He's gonna say, "Man, kill her." Nah. He saw her looking so beautiful. He's like, you know what? Come on, my queen. Come on up, my darling. Come on up, my love. Keep going.
So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. 3. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be given thee to the half of the kingdom.
And now, this is the woman that's supposed to die. But she came correctly to the point that the king is like, this is unusual. This it? What's your request? Tell me what your request is, and you could have. Matter of fact, you could have half the kingdom. What is your request? Because this is not like you. You are a submissive woman. This is not like you. Keep going.
And Esther answered, if it seems good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet.
And listen to what she said. She didn't say, look, this is what I want. She said, if it be good to the king, if you think this is wise, what do you think, my lord? Do you think this is okay? If this is okay with you, there's a certain way our sisters, I need to learn how to speak. And in the I.S.U.P.K, we teach our sisters. Oh, go ahead.
You could tell how she approached them, because when she approached them, she touched the top of the scepter.
Right.
And he was pointing.
Right.
To say, oh, you can speak. Let me.
Right.
You could tell how she kind of went along with it. How she kind of like pushed the fences down.
Right.
You know, she walked up to him, touched the top of the scepter. That scepter is to kill him.
Right.
She touched the top of the scepter and kind of sweet talking and got the fences down.
Right.
So it's just ironic how you put that in there.
She came correct. She definitely came correct. You know? And it's okay. It's okay to be a woman.
Right.
It's okay. You know, this world will have you think being a woman that like there is something wrong with being a woman, and there is something wrong with being a man. This is the society that we live in today. This society tells you it's wrong to be a man. If you're a man, you are toxic. And if you're a woman, you're a slave. This is the world we live in today. That's why you hear sisters say, I ain't gonna be no slave to no man. Because this society is upside down. And it's dying. It's a beautiful thing.
Right.
Keep going.
Right? That I have prepared for him. And another thing, just gonna say, she didn't just come and sweet talk him and ask, I'm cooking tonight.
Did you read that?
Yeah, Khan. Come this day under the banquet that I have prepared for him.
God.
Right? I'm cooking tonight.
Right.
And you and your second in command come tonight.
Right. If it's okay with you. Is it okay with you?
Right. Verse 5. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. That man better be in front. 5 and 5. That man better be in front of me and my wife in the next 2 hours. Somebody find him. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Right? Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Salakia? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed. Right. 7.
Right. And she's not saying nothing yet. She's not saying, this is what I want. This is really what I want. You know what? What you want? You want some oxtail? Would you like some oxtail? You know, I'm cooking some oxtail tonight. She's not saying, look, this is what I need. We about to die and I need you to sing. She's not saying that. That was what Abijah brought out. She's saying, look, I'm cooking tonight. I'm cooking some oxtail, my lord. I'm cooking some fried chicken. All right? I'm using these terms because as a people, you know, I love me some oxtail. Right. My rib know how to get me. You know, if she makes some oxtail or some salmon, she knows how to get me, you know. And she wanna ask me for something and she know I'm gonna say no. I got some salmon waiting for me. I'm like, you know what? You got it. You know what I'm saying? This is what Esther is doing here. She learned. She give her a hand. She's like, yeah, learn. Get me with that oxtail and that salmon, I'll tell you. Keep going.
God, what is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee? And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed. 7. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow. As the king hath said.
Cause she's still not saying what she wants. I'm having another party. I made salmon today. Tomorrow I'm making lamb. I'm having another party. if it please you now, come with Haman. Come with your second in command. If it's okay with you, my lord. This is what he said. Keep going.
Then 9. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
And Mordecai was about to have a good time, and then here we go that Negro. He go that Benjamin. Pissed him off. Keep going.
Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his sons and Zeresh his wife. 11. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches, and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
So he has all of that, right? He is the second in command. But there is one thing that was bothering this man. Even though he had all this power, but the fact that a Jew would not bow down to him made his life miserable. He was miserable simply because an Israelite would not bow down to him. Keep going.
You want me to drop down a bit? Or?
If you see this.
God. 13. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
For all this power that he had didn't mean nothing to him because of this Israelite. Because, go ahead, say Yawala.
And it shows that they all knew he was on one accord. Because if this one Jew don't bow, the others ain't bowing either.
Right.
So we gotta get rid of all.
Right. And this is what our oppressors understand. And this is why, in the I.S.U.P.K, we are a terrorist group. This is why. Because we are gathering the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
And this cannot be done. How is this happening? We had an officer yesterday who was telling us that when he first came to the Passover, sidebar real quick, when he first came, his first Passover, he felt uncomfortable because this is the first time in his life that he saw blacks, Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadian, Negroes drinking, having a good time together with Hispanics, with Mexicans, with Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and nobody's arguing. It's like, nah, this can't be real. That's a brother saying that. And this is what you're about to see comes April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right.
The 54th annual Passover under Commanding General Yohana. This is exactly what you're about to see. You're about to see Dominicans, Haitians. They say Dominicans and Haitians are enemies. That's what they say. Not in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. They say Jamaicans and Haitians are enemies, not in the UPK. Puerto Ricans and Negroes are not in the UPK. You're about to see Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians gathered together in the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General as it is prophesied. All right, keep going.
14. Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high.
Where we at?
For 5 and 14.
5 and 14. You could jump to 6 unless you want to say something. Jump to 6.
Okay.
Let's read that.
Yeah, come.
Right, because this is the exact thing that Ammon is going to fell under. Like, he's plotting on Mordecai, and this is what's going to happen to him. Read that.
Gallows be made of 50 cubits high. And tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
Right.
Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made. 6 and 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the chronicles.
Now remember, this king is trying to figure out what is going on with Hadassah. What's going on with Esther? She threw me a party. She cooked me some lamb and some oxtail. Now she's making salmon, and she's still not telling me what's going on. Now the king cannot sleep. The king is trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with Esther? And because he's up all night, now he's asked for the record, right? Keep going, because now he got some time to kill. What has been going on in my kingdom that I'm not aware of? Keep going.
And they were brought before the king. 2. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
All right, remember that was what in chapter 2? Remember in chapter 2 when we read about the 2 men that were plotting on the king, and I gave the analogy of the Haitian president who lost his life last year, right? So now the king is finding that out right now. The king didn't know about it. He's now finding out that there's a man that saved his life, and nobody told him about it. And he don't know what happened to that man. Like, what did you do to that man that saved my life? That I didn't die on July 7th like the Haitian president did.
Right.
What happened to that man? How the hell nobody didn't tell me about it? Keep going.
And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this?
Like I just said, what did you do to that man? What did you do for him? Being that he saved my life. Keep going.
Then said the king's servants that ministered under him, there is nothing done for him.
Nothing. He didn't do nothing. He saved your life and he didn't do nothing for him. Now, what Mordecai did in chapter 2 is imperative. It was imperative because this is what is going to get us the favor, right? To have the capacity to not be annihilated as a people.
Right. And the king's servant said unto him, and the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
This is so ironic because Haman is like, all right, he's trying to go hang Mordecai. And the king is finding out that Mordecai saved his life. While Haman is trying to unalive, to take away the life of Mordecai. And here come Haman to the king,
and the
trying to plot how he's going to unalive Mordecai.
Right.
And what did the king say?
5. And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in.
You know what? Let Haman come in because this guy saved my life. Let me talk to Haman real quick. And Haman don't know what's going on. In his mind, he just want to unalive Mordecai. He's going to take his life away. Like, all right, let me go to the king. The king called for me. Go ahead.
6. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?
And Mordecai, being the carnal man that he is, he's thinking that the king is talking about him. Meanwhile, the king is thinking about this man that he don't know about. He don't know him. He just know that this man saved his life. That's all he knows.
Right.
And as a people, today I was going up in I.S.U.P.K Haiti. I was going over Galatians chapter 3, right? In Galatians chapter 3, we learned that, you know, we're not justified by the law because we didn't keep the law, right? We did not keep the law. And this inheritance that we have is because of the promise that the Most High did for Abraham, right? So our justification is in Christ. Why? Because Christ is the reason that we...
Dealing with Mordecai. Haman went to go ask the king said you should ask Mordecai.
Right. I wasn't.
Okay, God.
So Yahweh Allah, what was I just saying just now? I was making a point.
you were saying that we wasn't justified by the law.
Right, Galatians
Right.
chapter 3. Right. We was not justified by the law, but because of Christ, we have a second chance. Right? Because Christ died for us. Right? So now, when a man, imagine that you deserve death, you're about to die. And the man say, you know what? Let me die instead. Now you owe that man. You owe that man something that money cannot buy. Now, this is what the king is realizing. The king is like, yo, this man saved my life. All right. Of course, he's a heathen, right? But in the position that that king was in, to realize that there is a man that saved his life. If it wasn't for that man, he could have died, right? So he called Aman because of that thought that's going through his head. Like, what y'all did for this man? This man saved my life. I could have died, but because of this man, I'm alive. And that's the reason why I make that parallel with Galatians chapter 3, because we deserve death as a people. As a people, we deserve death because we're not justified by the law. Because according to the law, with all the sin that we did, we deserve death. And there's nothing that the law could have done to make us change our lives. And the reason that we change our lives is because that Christ died for us, and we recognize that we have a debt. And that's us changing our lives, paying that debt. Now, on the left side with this heathen, he realized that there is a man that saved his life. So now he have a debt to that man. So he want to do something great for that man, but he don't know what it is. He don't know what should I do for that man. And he called Aman, trying to find out what should he do for that man. And Aman, in his ignorance, this is what he said. Keep going.
John. Now a man thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? 7. And a man answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought, which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal, which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor.
Right? So Aman is basically saying, look, this is what you should do for that man. Right? Because Aman, in his mind, he's thinking that the king is talking about him. Meanwhile, the king, in his mind, he's thinking about the man who saved his life, because he feels like he has a debt to that man of say Yahweh Allah.
And it's ironic because since he thinks it's him, he basically asked the king for a personal parade.
Right.
And goes around the city with a crown on his head.
Right.
And his carnality, because he thinks it's him. He's like, we want this man, we done for this man, parade.
Right. And also with what you just said, what he shows is that he wanted the king's position.
Right.
He wanted to be in the king's place. He's not a good servant.
Right.
He is not a good servant. That's what he shows. Because as a servant, you're supposed to know that the man that's above you is in the position that he is for a reason. And you serve that man. Not Aman. Aman wanted to be the king. This is why he's like, you know what? Give me your clothes. You should give that man your clothes and your crown. Because he truly wanted to be the king.
Right.
That's why he said that. Not knowing that Aman is thinking about the man that saved his life. And he feels like he has a debt to that man. In the I.S.U.P.K, we have a debt to Christ. And that's why we change our lives. All right? On the right side. Because, of course, here we're talking about a heathen who we do not care about. Keep going.
John. Then said the king to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as I have said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew.
All right. What you just said, you see that Jew right there, Mordecai? What you just said, do that for the Jew. Do that for these Benjamites. Exactly what you just said, because I didn't know what to do. But you just gave me a brilliant idea. This is how I'm going to pay that debt. I'm going to pay that debt based on what you just said just now. Keep going.
and do that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. 11.
Listen, from A to Z, because I didn't know what to do. I was confused. You know what I'm saying? I got so much going on. I'm ruling over 127 provinces. I called you, and you gave me from A to Z what I should do to that man. You know what? Make sure you don't miss C. Make sure you don't miss G. Make sure you don't miss W. Do everything from A to Z as you said. Keep going.
Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
You could only imagine what's going on is in Haman's head. He about to put this Jew that makes his life miserable in a position above him. He's about to serve the Negro that he's trying to kill.
Right.
He's about to be a servant to that Negro. This is exactly what's going to happen to our oppressor.
Right.
Our oppressors are going to be our servants.
That's right.
As it is prophesied in Isaiah the 14th chapter.
That's right.
All right? Because this is our position. Keep going.
Con. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house.
Where we at?
Verse 12.
6 and 12?
Yeah, Con.
All right.
You want to skip down a bit?
Yeah, I want to skip down to 7. Do we need anything here?
Not really.
6 and 12, right?
Yeah, Con. Verse 7 and 1.
Yeah.
When he gets to the
Basically, what's happening in between, Haman goes and, he goes and cry unto his family. Look, this is what I'm going through. I got to go serve this Negro.
Right.
Go ahead, jump to 7.
Con, and his family said, You messed up today.
Right.
Verse 7 and 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. 2. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day, at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther?
The king is still trying to figure out what's going on with his wife. He still don't know. She's over here cooking, and he's still trying to figure out what's going on. I've done went over the record for the past, how many years he's been ruling. I done find out that somebody trying to save my life, and whatever else that the king find out that is not recorded in here. That's not saying. He done find out all these things. He done read a whole book or had a whole record read to him. He still don't know what his wife wants. Keep going.
And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. 3. Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Now, the king is confused at this point. Let your life, you need your life to be saved? What the hell are you talking about? You, my wife. What you talking about? Let your life and your people. What you talking about? Keep going.
4. For we are sold, and I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and women, and bond women, I had held my tongue.
Stop right here real quick, right? Listen to the language, right? If we were going to be slaves, matter of fact, with that latter part.
Gone. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue.
I wouldn't even say nothing to you. If we were just gonna be slaves, I wouldn't even say nothing to you. But we are about to be killed. We are about to be unalive as an entire race. This is the only reason why I'm speaking, and I need my life and my people's life saved. All right, listen to her language, because she's basically saying, look, I don't mind if I was gonna be a slave, I wouldn't even talk to you. I would not even say nothing. But this is about my life here. This is the only reason I'm even asking you this. All right? Listen to how she speaks to that man.
Right.
It's important. Keep going.
Although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage, meaning Like, if he had put us in slavery, I knew I could have stopped that too, right? But I was going to let it rock. But he's actually out here trying to kill us.
Right.
Verse 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed and to be slain and to perish. Salakia. 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther, who is he and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so?
The king don't know. What's she talking about? He don't know, because remember when the king gave Aman the ring, that was Aman's desire,
Right.
based on the interaction that he had with Mordecai. That was based on his desire. It wasn't the king's desire to make that decree to annihilate the Jews. That was Aman's desire. So of course the king don't know what the hell Esther is talking about. He's like, who's that enemy? Who? Like, what you talking about? Keep going.
John 6. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. 7. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
Now listen, this is funny to us in the U.P.K. because we can see it. This is the spirit of a devil, right? That our oppressor is. Now that the king find out that Aman is trying to annihilate or commit genocide on his wife's family, Aman is now scared. And instead of going to talk to the king, what does he do? I'm sorry, Badger, read that part again.
Salakia. Stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
This is the serpent in the garden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He go
Right.
talk to that woman. Go talk to that man. What the hell you going to talk to that woman for? Keep going.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Because in his mind, it's like, damn, the king is about to destroy me. Let me go talk to the one. Go ahead, Officer Yawala.
It shows the power that she and the wisdom that she had to be ambiguous.
Right.
She started cooking.
Right.
She invited him over. What do you want? I want you to come to this next cooking I'm doing.
Exactly.
Right.
Good.
You come to the next one. What do you want? What do you want? And she's ambiguous to say what the problem is.
Right.
So whereas it kind of tells the king, like, maybe she's afraid. Who's this enemy you're afraid of?
Right.
And it's like him.
Right.
Right there.
Right.
And if she would have did it any other way, it probably wouldn't have turned out quite like this.
Definitely not.
So it shows the power, in submission
Right.
of how you can, be in the air of your husband.
Right. Right. Because if that was Vashti, if that sister had the spirit of Vashti, man, we would have probably been going as a nation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She just had to be this sister right here, right? Because Mordecai raised her right. She had a moment of selfishness when she was in her mind thinking about facing death, but she woke up after Mordecai cut her spirit. She woke up and she had to realize, you know what? This is for my people. I'm going to fast about this and I'm going to face death. And she went correct to the king, and she was like Officer Yawala said, real submissive. She was very meticulous on how she communicated with the king. Right? She didn't come out straight out and say, you know what? This man right here, your second in command, is trying to unalive us, and I need help. That's not how she came. All right? She came exactly how Officer Yawala just said. Keep going.
8. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
This devil is in the bed begging that woman, please go talk to your man.
Groveling.
Don't ever do that. People in the world, don't ever do that. You got an issue with a brother, and this is why our lower statutes and commandments is so crucial, man. They are our wisdom, like it says in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Our laws are our wisdom. You have a problem with a brother, you go to that brother. You go tell that brother, look, man, I messed up. I apologize. You know what? I was trying to, of course, this is a heathen. This is definitely a heathen that we don't care about. I messed up. Look, I wanted to unalive this person because of this. You go to your brother. You don't go to that brother's woman and say, look, talk to your man, talk to your boyfriend. And this is what happens in the world. This happens in the world all the time. You know, somebody got a problem with a brother and they go and talk to that brother's woman, right? And that what just happened with what's his name, Jay Prince and what's her name, Cardi B,
What?
going to talk to that brother's woman to say, look, tell your husband this and that. Look, Hollywood is in need of the I.S.U.P.K. Because Hollywood is a sick place that only the I.S.U.P.K. can heal. Only the I.S.U.P.K. can heal our people, man.
Right.
The gang banging, right? The gossip, because this is all that, like, people are making industries out of our destruction.
Right.
Gossiping is becoming a big industry. And gossip about what? Gossip about our destruction. When the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High provided us can fix all of this.
Right.
And this man, instead of going to the king himself, of course, he's a heathen, right? They don't have our wisdom. He goes and he's on the bed begging Esther, look, please, go talk to your husband. And here comes the king looking at this man on his bed with his wife.
Right.
Read.
Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
Hold up. What's going on here? You trying to have my woman too? So you trying to do Esther? This is what's happening. Keep going.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. That's the scene in the movies when they put the
Right.
Right.
And just like that, Haman lost his power. Just like that. Just like that.
If I may say,
Yeah,
they didn't say kill him, take him. He asked the question, what are you doing with my wife? Cats already knew us.
right.
Hey, come on, bro.
What you say, Awahala?
No, I said they just took it.
Right,
Yeah.
let's just think of it. It's that about. Where we at, Badger?
We at 8 right now.
7 and 8?
Yeah, Khan.
All right, go ahead.
9, and Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king. Salakia, standeth in the house of Haman. Just to piggyback, just what this means. I want to see this nigga's body swinging out my backyard.
Watch the language.
Salakia.
Let's stay. We gonna stay on the internet until Christ returns. You know what I'm saying? It's in our prayers, and the Most High has answered our prayers. We are cracking the internet right now.
Right.
It's happening. Right. This is why right now you can't read the Bible on the internet.
Right.
Because the Most High has cracked the internet as we prayed for.
Right.
And we are going to stay on the internet until our King Yahushua returns. So just watch the language, right?
Yeah, God. I want to see him hanging from my backyard. That's what Haman said. The gallows weren't in the city, the street, wasn't in City Hall. Now, we're going to make gallows and hang this cat in my own backyard.
Right.
So I can feel so good about myself every time I wake up. Yeah, I hanged him.
Sorry.
Right?
So
God
keep going.
had spoken good for the king and standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
So the trap that he was setting for our brother, he fell on that trap. The scripture says. Keep going.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
Then was the king's wrath pacified. 8 and 1.
The king wrath is pacified now because
Right.
now he knows his woman is at peace. She's not scared no more. Keep going.
John.
It didn't want to come.
8:1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. So she finally said, this is my cousin that raised me like a father.
Right, basically.
Right?
Keep going.
2. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
Now you're about to find out why we are gathered here today, observing the Feast of Purim. It's not a high holy day, but this is our tradition, and it is based on what we are about to read right now. We go ahead, Oseyawala, quickly.
Just for clarity, but with the ring, most kings have their signet,
Right.
their signature
Done.
on their ring.
Right.
Whenever they officiated papers, they would pour the wax and push the signet in.
Right.
So if you had someone else officiating for you, you would give them your ring.
Right.
And David's signet is right behind you.
That's
Right.
right. That's right. Matter of fact, you got that signet in a ring, right? Addictive Chaos?
Yes.
Yes, it's right. Go to addictivechaos.com, all right? Shameless plug. All right, give Oseyawala a hand. All right? Because what we are doing in the I.S.U.P.K, we are bringing honor back to our signet, man. This represents our government.
Right,
And our government, man, our signet has been taken by a people who claim to be us. They defiled our signet, man, and we are bringing honor back to it. This is what the I.S.U.P.K has been doing, man, under commanding General Yohana. Keep going, Oseyawala.
John. Salakia. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman, the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
All right, basically his decree to do what? To commit genocide on our people. Keep going.
Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha.
All right, so now Esther is trying to get that decree to be reversed, but there is protocol in everything, in every kingdom. There is protocol, and the king could not just say, you know what, after I made this decision, you know what, change that decision. It's not, things are not done in that manner, and the king's about to express that. Keep going.
Right, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's province. Says, for how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people?
Jump to where the king expressed that. Is it in 9 and 1?
9 and 1?
No, not yet.
7, right?
Read 7.
7. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring.
All right, so basically the king is about to express to Esther, look, once a decision is made on the king's behalf, you cannot just take that away.
Right.
Now, Mordecai has the power to make a decree. All right. Now you can defend yourself. You can do something so that these people do not commit genocide on you. And this is going to be instrumental, because all the people throughout the 127 provinces that this decree was spread throughout, they know about this story. They know what happened to Aman. And they know that the king is on the side of who? The people that they are supposed to be unaliving.
Right.
All right. So now these people, they have fear because the king is on their side. All right. Keep that in mind. Keep going.
John. Salakia. Which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring, made no man reverse. 9. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants and the deputies and rulers of the provinces, which are from India to Ethiopia, and 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. 10. Verse 10 or
jump to 9 and 1.
9 and
All
1.
So now it's about to be spread out the same way that Aman spread out that we are going to commit genocide on these people. Now we are about to rise up as a people, and whoever try to come for us, they gonna get it.
That's right.
All right. Oh, go ahead, officer.
I appreciate it right quick.
Come, Baba Kishar, sir.
Job 5 and 12.
Come.
He disappointeth the devices of the crafty,
Right.
so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
Right.
He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong.
Come.
Right.
Come. Most High in Christ. The water for that, sir. And this is the Most High. Come. Give that a hand. And this is how we going to rule as a people. Because the oppressor, they are crafty. You know, Haitians talking about they do voodoo, officer Ibaja.
Right.
They don't know that the oppressor is the biggest people that practice voodoo.
Right.
You don't practice more voodoo than the oppressor.
Right.
This oppressor is crafty.
Right.
You know? But guess what? The Most High has his plan. And the plan is for us to rule this planet Earth.
Right. If I may.
Quickly.
Yeah, Count. That's also to go into the crack epidemic, which led into the opioid epidemic. One was a black problem, the other is a white problem. He's getting caught in his own craftiness.
Let's jump to 9 and 1.
9 and 1. Now in the 12th month, that is
which we are in right now. We are on the 12th month. This is why we are gathered here today. Today, sundown a few hours ago was the start of the 14th day in the 12th month in the Hebrew, which is the month Adar. Keep going.
On the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them.
All right. Remember the decree that Aman made was to do what? To commit genocide on the Jews. All right. So now that day is approaching. It was what, the 13th day?
Right.
It was the 13th day. Keep going.
Though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them.
Right. So now jump to verse 21. All right. So now we are on the month. This is the month. It's the 12th month. Right. That decree was for the 13th day of the 12th month. Now the 12th month is here. And the decree, 12. You have to speak. Cut, no sweat. So the 12th month is here. All right. And on 13th day from today is the date that was appointed to commit genocide on the Jews. We're here now. Keep going, upside about 21.
Okay, 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month.
Start from the beginning.
21. To establish this among them.
With 20.
20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and afar, Salakia, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same month of the same yearly.
This is why we are here today. Go ahead, Officer Yawala, quickly.
So in that first decree, the 13th day was the day we were supposed to be genocided.
God.
So they're making the holiday the day after.
Exactly. Yeah. Give that a hint. Give that a hint. It's the same thing with the Egyptians.
Right.
What did Pharaoh say? When Moses went the last time to get 3 days off, that's all we ask for. We need 3 days off. Pharaoh said, look, the firstborn, we're going to kill the firstborn of your children. And what happened? The firstborn of all the Egyptians died on that night. And guess what? The most High is so gangster. You know what? Now it's a high holy day, which we are about to observe April 1st, Raleigh, North Carolina. Give that again. The I.S.U.P.K, we are going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, starting from what? March 29th? Wednesday, March 29th to April the 3rd? April
Second.
April the 2nd, we are going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, to observe our high holy day, the Passover.
And if I may,
Quickly.
I can read the scripture real quick.
Go ahead.
This is additions to Esther in the Apocrypha 16 and verse 15. This is out of Xerxes' words specifically. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch, this is referring to Haman, right, hath delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers. Why? Because he came out saying we're such an evil people.
Right.
But Xerxes went into the law, researched us, and found out we're not an evil people, just like who? The police.
Right.
The police are always on our side because they know we don't do crimes. Give Salakia, give Captain Mashaka him.
That's how it goes.
Right? They're dealing with some funky dog, funky sister out in the street who don't know how to control her mouth and how to keep her child safe. We're not evil men. Evil men would do something harmful to a sister that gets in their face. Men of God, this is what we do. And that by that day, be children of the Most High and most mighty living power. Right? By that we understand we're above this woman. Our job is to teach her. Right? And that's what Xerxes understood. So that's why he undid Haman's order, because he saw we are not the crazy terrorists that we are portrayed as. We are a people of righteousness. So,
Right.
God, no sounds right. He didn't really undo the order, just for clarity's sake.
John.
But then he allowed Mordecai to have his own order.
Right.
Giving him his ring. Now we have our order. Okay, you coming for us? We ready for you. All right? Because he couldn't undo the decree, because once, based on their protocol, based on that kingdom, once you make a decree on the king's name, you can't undo it. All right? So now Mordecai, he had the same power to say, all right, no sweat. You going to come for us? We are waiting for you. Come on.
Damn right.
Come for us. All right? Get that in hand. All right? Let's wrap it up.
Now you want to get to 26 here?
You can skip?
Yeah, we should be able to.
All right, man.
John 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur, meaning dice.
Right.
Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them.
And you have to understand that spirit, man, to call it Purim, which is after dice, when you're rolling the dice. Because Mordecai didn't think the king is going to, put a crown on his head. Mordecai is not thinking about that, right? He's thinking, look, my people is about to be annihilated. But then because of what he did, because he protected the king, when he told Esther, look, there's two men that's trying to do the king like they did Jovenel Moïse last year on July 7th. And then because the queen went and said that to the Shamar department, all right, I'm using this term, we understand these terms, to the security department, even though this is a heathen, and they protected that king, and that king did not lose his life. Based on that, this is why Aman was granted that same power. So like if Mordecai was granted that same power that Aman had to make a decree to annihilate us. All right, so you got to understand the spirit of this feast day that we are observing today. Keep going.
Which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come up unto them. 27. The Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year.
And we are going to keep these 2 days until Christ return. Today, the 14th day, all right, and tomorrow, we are going to observe the Feast of Purim. Keep going.
28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
To a what?
Every generation.
All right, the scripture says to rehearse. All right, finish that for me, Abijah.
Every family, every province, and every city.
I was saying the scripture, but to rehearse the righteousness.
The righteous
of the
acts.
Lord. All right, and this is what we are doing here in the I.S.U.P.K. And we're going to do this until our king returns. We're not waiting. We are occupying.
Right.
Our king did not tell us to wait. Our king told us to occupy till I come.
That's
Right? And this is what we are doing here in the I.S.U.P.K. We are occupying this position under Commanding General Yohana until our king returns.
That's right.
Keep going.
John. And according to their Salakia, throughout every generation, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
And we must remember that, man. We must remember that day. And it's crucial for us to understand as a people, man. You know, you're gonna hear a lot of things about the I.S.U.P.K. But one thing you're going to recognize, we are the solution for our people.
Right.
The I.S.U.P.K. is. Whether you're in Hollywood, whether you are in the ghetto, it don't matter where you at. The scriptures say in Isaiah chapter 1, heaven listen. That means the highest of our people. All right? The earth listen up. That means the lowest of our people. So from the lowest to the highest of our people. From the brother on 125th that is strung out on drugs to Kanye West. Listen up. The I.S.U.P.K. is the solution for our people.
Damn.
Keep going. That's right. Give that a hand.
And I just want to say, like, it's important that we do this because it is basically ordained by the Most High that we are to remember this day. This is a memorial, right? In the 29, then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm the second letter of Purim. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed, the matters of the fastings and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
That's 31.
32.
On sign of Christ. And this is why we are here today. We are observing the Feast of Purim. This is our tradition, and we're going to keep doing it. You know, if World War III do not explode, because we are already in World War III, do not explode, by next year we are going to observe the Feast of Purim again, Lord willing, and we're going to do it every year until our King returns. Right? This is our tradition, and I.S.U.P.K. since 1969, the Most High has blessed us with this truth, and we are practicing the righteousness of the Lord, man.
Right.
This is what we are doing.
Right. You mind if I read 3?
You want to read it? Go ahead.
For Mordecai the Jew, this is 10 and 3. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto the king Ahasuerus, and was great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, meaning he didn't get in the seat and care about himself. And we didn't mention it today, but a good example or bad example of Esther is Michelle Obama. She used all that power to stop Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon from showing Mickey D's commercials. Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, all these people got shot under the Obama administration. She used her powers to create legislation that said fast food companies can't advertise on children's programming while we're being gunned down in the streets. She's the opposite of Esther. Mordecai raised up his basically stepdaughter to help his people. And when he got in a position of power, he spent his life looking for ways to advance his people. No different than that brother Daniel. Right? Of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. He didn't get in that position and say we need more cops in these communities. And that's it. You got anything else?
Yeah, so that was on the left side, right? So on the right side, we're going to end it with the scripture in Hebrews, the 12th chapter, 24th verse. You can read that real quick.
24.
All right, this is Moses. All right, Hebrews 12 and 24. This is the same spirit.
This is Hebrews 12 and 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
Right? Moses was in power, man, in the house of Pharaoh.
Right.
He was in power. But he was looking at his people. And he said, the hell with the Egyptians, man. The hell with the Egyptians. My people are suffering.
Right.
The hell with America. What about the Jamaicans? What about the Mexicans? What about the Haitians? What about the people in Nicaragua? What about the people in Venezuela? What about the 12 tribes of Israel?
Right.
The hell if we got a good credit score? The hell if we got a business in the I.S.U.P.K? We got businesses. We got good credit score. But we know what's one thing that's more important is our people.
Right.
We prioritize that. And we got that from our forefathers, man, because our king, Yahushua Mashiach, he could have the entire world.
Right.
But he prioritized his people. And he sacrificed for his people so that we can have a second chance at life because we deserve death. Keep going.
Con. 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the
Choosing
people.
what?
Rather to suffer affliction.
Nah, to be high and mighty in American society.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction.
Moses chose to suffer affliction. With who?
With the people of God.
With his people. With the Israelites.
Right.
Keep going.
Than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
And Esther understood that. Esther understood, you know what? If I die, I die. I'm going to fast and I'm going to speak to the king. And she did it. And here in the I.S.U.P.K, we sacrifice our lives for our people. We're not going to enjoy the sin of America. Guess what? Because that enjoying the sin of America is only for a season. We rather the kingdom.
Right.
This is why we are here in the I.S.U.P.K.
And if I may,
All right? Go ahead.
be
Let's
real
end
quick.
it up with that.
Yeah, Con. Like what you got to understand about the scripture, nobody knows the suffering. We know a bit. He made us make bricks without straw, so on and so forth. Nobody knows the suffering that he went through, but everybody knows the story of Moses. So instead of being some random prince inside of Egypt, I'm going to do the work to become Moses. I'm going to do the work to turn my people into a world superpower. I'm going to do the work to become the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Everybody knows us. Everybody knows the name Moses. Other nations name their kids after this one man. Why? Because he suffered affliction. Guess what? Every nation pretty much names their child after Esther. Every nation names their child after Mordecai.
Right.
Right? Because of the suffering that these men put up with.
Most High Christ. With that, pass the class to officer, priest, and officer. Yahweh Ya Allah.
Don't take this.
Don't flip it. Yeah.
Where the prayers at?
The prayers. It's right there.
Also, I.K.M. and Aquafion, Baba Kashar, please send up prayers to Officer Napash,
Captain.
Shapar Napash, to Captain Salakia. Send up prayers to Captain Shapar Napash, Baba Kashar. All right, just send up prayers to the captain. All right, Most High in Christ. Go ahead, Officer.
The water. All right, men of Israel say Amajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim Barak, Yad Mutah, sisters Amajim, Akim. Shaw, turn to the sisters. We're gonna give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Amajim Shabbat, Amajim Barak, Yad Mutah, dismissed.